Good evening, and welcome to Of Dice and Them, the TTRPG actual play podcast, bringing you tonight, Blades in the Dark. My name is Tove, and I'm your games master, and joining me on this quest is Ralph.
Good evening, listener. I hope you're ready for some crimes. I'm cutting you off, Tove.
Do it. Take it and run with it.
It's my podcast now. Please don't do that to me. Please carry on. oh, beloved Games Master.
Quickly pass the ball to Bambi.
Hello. I don't feel suave, so I've just gone for this.
Oh, this is terrible.
And the ball hits the ground and rolls away.
This is the energy I'm bringing.
And it rolls down the hill because neither Lou nor Jack are there to save it and save us from ourselves.
No.
Tonight, we, in the Undercity of Saren, find Randall and Kuuza sitting with their feet up in the lair. Randall, you feel a large crate of fantasy drugs burning a hole in your pocket, and you're thinking about what to do with it before it burns a hole in your nose.
Although Kuuza, I should say, I'm obviously talking to you as you're the only one in the room.
Yeah, I got that impression, yeah.
Good. Yes, although I did roll incredibly well on my resistance. As time goes on, I'm not sure how long that resistance roll can really last.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be best not to tempt fate with all of this gear.
What was Kuuza doing before Randall walked into the room with this giant box of drugs?
I think probably just taking 5 minutes of peace and quiet and just having that one beer that you've promised yourself all week. Just like, right, okay, I've just got to get through this week, and then Friday evening, I'll have that beer I've been saving. So I think he's sipping a bottle of beer and just... and then Randall barges in with a crate full of fantasy drugs.
And together, the two of you, we are looking for a score which will advance the crew's claims. And looking at the map of claims, the next one that interested us was the drug den, which gives us a roll which increases the amount of coin the crew collects in downtime. And will also narratively prevent Randall from overindulging on every single roll for the rest of his life.
Stop Randall eating all the drugs.
So the first step here is to decide from whom you will be taking this drug den. One of the big themes in Blades in the Dark is that nothing in the city is available for free. Everything in the city is already owned by someone. So we have to decide... who are we taking it from? This would be an ideal time to dig out any of the old contacts, any of the friends you might have on your character sheets. We also have the factions table to peruse.
Well, obviously, we don't want to muscle in on Jenny's turf if we're trying to get in with them. Personally, I don't give a shit about the Regency. I don't mind pissing off the Regency. The thugs, I think, hate us anyway, if I remember.
I think they are formally neutral towards you. I think individuals.
That's a very diplomatic way of putting it.
Are we using all of these, even ones that haven't been mentioned before?
We could do if one of you have some kind of link to them. If you could invent a link to them. I'll point out that the ones with little asterisks I haven't renamed from the default Blades in the Dark.
Thank you. Because I was going to choose one of those because they had a weak hold. I was like, they sound like an easy picket. But yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, Forger Sisters allegedly have a weak hold, but we are also all quite scared of the Forger Sisters.
Who has Kuuza got links with? Who was it that Kuuza used to work for?
Kuuza's got history with Regency members.
Would there have been any sort of contact he had with this type of dealing? A sort of in on that?
I'm not sure. And his other contact was just kind of a bit of a wheeler dealer who sort of had fingers in many pies, was more of a sort of information broker rather than a particular...
The engineer from Miss Saigon.
The engineer from Miss Saigon.
I assume, like, really on a street level, Randall actually does just know basically all of the drug dealers.
He will know where to find drugs.
And so I guess, narratively speaking, he could say, in his experience, these appear to be the weakest, like, least protected, but like sort of a good market area, because he would then presumably also have a decent idea of the kinds of addicts who were living in that area.
You could know like an almost independent opium den that you frequented in the past that you could potentially put the screws on.
I think we should have it someone though, because that sounds funny.
Yeah, I mean, surely from what you were saying about nothing in the city being free, even if it is basically unaffiliated, it's going to be a minor part of someone's operation, right? It's got to we've got to piss off someone by doing this. So the question is, do we double down on the Forger sisters who already hate us, but maybe we could muscle them out of this territory, or do we go for the thugs? Because we're not really on their fantasy radar.
One or two of them might recognise Randall. That's probably the best you've got there, or the worst you've got there.
Lucky for them. I would say, how likely do we think that the Forger sisters have this kind of, like, the whole religious aspect? I don't know if they're going to be even requesting protection money from drug dens. They're more likely to just not to actively fight them being in their territory. That's the impression
infinitely
I got.
more likely to say that the thugs have a drug den than the Forger sisters. I think not really the Forger sister wheelhouse.
All right, let's go see Porky then.
So we'll say that this is one Randall knows of. It is in the back room of one of the dirtiest wine sinks in Ravenswing. It's right out on the border of what you could feasibly say is sort of your territory, where you might be able to exert some influence. We would now look at gathering information and moving to an engagement role. Do we have any questions to ask about this dirty little opium den?
So do we think it would be directly run by the thugs, or it would be something paying protection? I think that because of the nature of the business, it's something that they would probably run themselves directly as an income generator.
Yes, I think the amount of money you lot may potentially be getting from it, I think the thugs would have a proper hook on it. Because it would be quite a fair chunk of money to be sort of subcontracting. Yeah.
That makes sense. I think because obviously I could just place things in it how I would like. I think that what would happen is Randall would have been there in a pinch, let's say. He doesn't like it too much, but, needs must. And I think what it would be is maybe because of how the thugs operate, being quite aggressive, maybe the people themselves who work there only work out of fear more than anything and out of an absolute need for the income from the job. So it wouldn't be too easy to keep the operation in place.
It's more promising them that we can keep the thugs out if they... I mean, it's running a protection racket on the drug den, right?
Yeah. So we could basically... we could displace them promising better working conditions. And we have the combination of the speaker being Randall And Kuuza being like the fearful looking muscle. So, because, if it was, let's say, if it was Gecko and Randall turning up, it probably wouldn't work in the same way, because where's the muscle? Where's the proof of the strength? So I think that kind of way makes sense.
Nice. Okay, so do we want to think about any information you want to get about the location or any other sort of pre-score preparations?
Maybe, I feel like this is a tactic we've used before and it's never gone well. But
Spun sugar.
Spun sugar. Try and sort of scope it out. They generally employ fairly rough, tough, down on their luck types. So I'm wondering if I could just kind of approach there as if I'm looking for some sort of gainful employment. To sort of try and get a bit of the lay of the land, try and suss out what the feeling of the workers is, to see if there are some weak points that we can exploit there.
That sounds good. That sounds like maybe a consort?
Yeah, my problem is I keep saying things that sound like consorts.
Well, what you need to do is you need to tell me the verb you want to use.
Yes.
Rather than having me...
But it's very much not command, which is the only resolved thing I've got a dot in. This is, by any reasonable definition, a consort.
You could jump someone leaving and interrogate them, and that would be a command.
Oh yeah, that's
hold your
true.
hand too much. But...
Yeah, could Batman someone. Where are the other folks going?
So you should wear a mask.
Follow me!
Hiding your bugbear features under.
Yeah, it's Batman, mask. But there's just fur coming out of all of the gaps. Yeah, I will wait for a change of shift and pin a worker up against a wall and ask him what's the general feeling of the workers here? Are there any weak points we can exploit?
Are you going for someone you can identify as one of the thugs, or someone who just works at the wine sink?
Someone who just works there, I think. Because that's the angle we're going for, right?
Yes, I think so.
And we don't want to give away to any of the thugs that we're planning.
Okay, yeah. I think we should roll for this, and then we'll think about who.
Yes,
it is
I agree. 4.
That is standard. You get good details, clarifying, and follow-up questions are possible. So I think you potentially grab someone who's leaving sort of come dawn, maybe. He is a skinny wood elf man with blonde hair and a ponytail, but sort of sunken eyes, and he doesn't look like he's particularly well fed or well treated.
And I think sort of as they're breaking out, I think I just sort of put an arm round and just kind of lead into a side alley. Come on, old chum, we're gonna have a little talk, you and me.
Oh bloody hell! You know the thugs run this establishment. Oh yeah, they will be hearing about this. But he does follow you, like clearly a coward.
Speaking of our mutual friends, the thugs, just had a couple of questions about their operation they've got going here.
The operation, the Amber Dream is an upstanding wine-serving establishment. We serve only the finest of Elven. Oh, bloody hell. No, we sell Stardust out of the back.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case. What is some, what information are we looking for here?
I do.
Well, it's guarded at night. There's always at least 2 or 3 thugs standing around, and we have a magical device for calling for more help if we need.
Anything more you can tell me about this device? Where it's located? What's it looking for? That sort of thing. It's just communications, is it?
Lots of gangs have these. They give them out to various establishments that they pay collect. And he sort of stammers his way through this. They collect payment and protection money from. You have actually seen one of these. Beryl Filigree had one in the jewellery shop.
Okay.
And she was cranking it when she needed to call for help from the Regency.
Right, okay. All right, good to know. And whereabouts is that located?
Oh well, it's all the unsavoury stuff is all in the one room at the back. There's we keep it in a drawer.
All right, good to know. And two or three thugs, you said, any given time.
Is that including during the day as well, when it's open and operating?
It's open at night and closed during the day.
During operating hours?
Operating hours are at night.
So
Yep.
that's when there's like 2 to 3 of them, right? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Got you. Makes sense. Anything else that you need to ask?
I mean, I didn't know what to ask in the first place.
What's the general feeling for the workers?
What's the general feeling of the workers? You feeling rebellious?
He looks at you and he is tired. He is.
They work you hard, the thugs, do they?
He is silent, but he nods with a world weariness that you feel in your bones.
Feels like you lot might welcome a change of management. Someone with a slightly more cooperative style, something. Listen to what you have to say, hear your side of the story, that sort of thing.
He briefly looks slightly hopeful, but I think he knows better than to get his hopes up, and he kind of shrugs.
Something to think about, old son, that's all. Something to think about.
And he sort of like breaks away from you and runs back out of the alley and away. Anything on your side, Randall?
Yeah, I had a thing. I think that Randall would be interested in how close backup would be were they to call for help. So how much time would we have? What's the kind of... How strong is the Thugs activity in this specific area? And the way that he would go about this, I had an idea that he could just read newspapers for a study role. But that doesn't really fit. Even though he has one in study, which I very, very rarely use. I was thinking what it might be better to do is... Can I do more than one thing? Can I do both, maybe? Or is it limited to just sort of do whatever and then just crack on and see what happens?
I think... this is where my understanding of the rules will be on show when I go back and read this section again later. I think what I hear most Blades games do is like you get a free gather information before the score starts.
Right, okay.
Anything else we'll have to work out on the fly.
Okay, that's fine then. So I think that the best way to do it is to find a local blue coat who perhaps operates in the area and ask them the kinds of experiences they have about the Thugs operation, which is going to be at least one of command, consort, or sway, which really...
And they're all 2 points for you, so yeah.
Doesn't matter how it's done.
Okay, let's roll it.
2 dice.
Yep.
6.
Yeah, ask away. I think you pull out Tay's Rolodex and you find that she's got a folded corner on a Sergeant Limetree who you would be able to make contact with and ask a few questions.
Yeah, so is that what, like a phone call? Sorry, how would this... Where would we meet them? If he goes to a bar, that'd be great.
Yeah, I reckon you can arrange a meeting in a public place. I don't think Sergeant Limetree would probably meet you in a private place. So
Okay,
yeah.
So,
Friend of Tay's, are you?
yes. You know, we've been working together. Fantastic Tay, truly reliable. Bit of a go-getter.
Oh yes, I would agree with that assessment.
But yeah, she indicated that she might be able to help us out a little. We were just wondering about the thugs. You operate quite strongly in this area around the wine bar, I understand.
Yes, we have had reports of the thugs operating in this area. They have quite a strong presence just over the border outside of Ravenswing there, but them being so mercenary in who they work for, they can pop up anywhere.
Yes, that's what I was concerned with. We were just, wondering if we were to, just be in this area, if we might get any trouble from them, which we weren't really looking for. Any specific other jaunts that they hold that aren't the wine bar in, let's say, 10-minute proximity by running?
Oh yes, certainly. I would expect that if the Amber Dream that you were talking about, I think that's the only wine bar in that area.
Yes.
I expect if the thugs wanted to arrive there in force, it would only take them mere minutes to run down the street from one of their barracks.
Yes.
Obviously, you wouldn't be admitting to any kind of crime to me, being a blue cloak, but, if I was going to piss off the thugs, I wouldn't do it there.
No. Of course not. Just general musings. I like to have a good awareness of my surroundings. Can't know too much to help me keep out of danger.
Of course, finely dressed gentlemen like yourself must always be aware of any potential threats from the streets.
Exactly. Now you get it. I think that's basically it then. So, not good news.
Gather information, rolled a 6, got the best information you could. The information was, don't do it. We go back home, have a little sleep.
So next would be the engagement roll. Do we have an idea of how we want to approach this?
I would say, regardless of how we determine what it means, we need an insider to disable the help calling machine. And
yeah, I was thinking that should be the first port of call
on
for sure.
And I don't think it's really in our skill set to get to it. And
that can be. I think I've got 1 point in. 1 point in proud.
But that frees us up for the rest of the plan, which is to go in. Kuuza finds the biggest and meanest looking thug, and then just knocks them out.
Oh, okay. I love that for me.
So we want to narrow it down to assault, deception, stealth, occult, social, or transport. It sounds like this could either be social or assault, depending on which of those you want to do first. With social, we need to detail the social connection. With assault, we would need to detail the point of attack.
Point of attack. The biggest, meanest thug.
I haven't read Kuuza wrong, right? Kuuza's
got 1 point in skirmish. Kuuza is a bit of a jack of all trades.
So that's good then.
I feel like it's in character appropriate, not necessarily the stats to back that up.
How else would Kuuza like to take this?
See, I've put a lot of points in hunt, which I'm gradually coming to the conclusion is not a very useful skill.
Okay, hunt.
It is what you make it.
You might follow a target, discover the location, arrange an ambush. Okay, so what about... So do that to the biggest one before entering. So when we follow up with the second part of the plan, the biggest one that we're showing our strength against is actually slightly smaller and therefore makes it a little bit easier. So it's like set up an ambush for all of them so there's as few thugs in there as possible so that we can just make our grand show of trying to get the...
Oh, yeah, that's what... so sort of observe for a bit, see the next shift coming in of thugs, and try and take the biggest, meanest one out before they get there. Yeah. Maybe do a bit of hunting round to try and
thin the ranks.
Try and thin the ranks before they can actually cause a problem.
So we are going with assault then, with the detail being the big guy on his way to work.
The big guy on his way, who perhaps passes by a particularly shadowy alley.
Okay, so we are looking for the engagement roll. You get 1 dice for sheer luck, +1 for any major advantage, -1 for any major disadvantage. Is it particularly bold or daring? I think, yeah, we're all nodding. Does the plan's detail expose the vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? No, you are going directly for one of the strongest.
There's too much stealth, too much like social. We need something bold.
Yeah.
So is the target strongest against this approach, or do they have particular defenses or special preparations? Take -1 dice. I'm going to put the daring dice back down because you are going for the strongest guy. But can any of your friends or contacts potentially provide aid or insight for this operation? Say yes.
Sneaky Jimmy, the gadget destroyer, will probably be quite a helpful contact.
How do you know Sneaky Jimmy, Ralph?
We went to school together.
Bugbear school.
Bugbear school.
Randall, any thoughts there?
What about Peter Plow? Peter Plow, he's a ploughman. A lot of ploughing going on in the Undercity.
I think there's a good chance that Randall would know an addict he could exploit.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah. And so it would be like if it comes to Randall, like trying to like gear the crowd up to throw off the shackles of oppression.
Then
Peter might be like Peter Plow.
Peter Plow. Okay.
Peter Plow. Yeah. I thought of Peter before I thought of Plow.
Maybe it's pronounced Pluff.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 dice. Are there any other elements to consider? No.
Not on the entry, no. Well, I think that Kuuza is an expert ambusher. Like, really good at it. And this isn't his first rodeo. Even though the size of the thug is so large, this is actually something that Kuuza...
When I hide in a prepared position or use camouflage, I get +1d to avoid detection.
3 dice it is. This will be our engagement roll.
Yes. God, that was fun.
I think that was a pity 3rd dice.
I mean, then you were ambushing someone, right?
That is true. That is very true.
Ooh, 4. Mixed result. You're in a risky position when the action starts.
There are 5 thugs.
There are 3 of them. However, Kuuza, you have managed to hide yourself successfully. So if your objective is to take one of them out, it will be a risky position for you to be in, but with standard effect. Or throw that plan in the bin and do something else. It's a dark, narrow street that this wine sink is on. It's a back alley that these thugs are approaching the door that Randall has identified as the way in.
I mean, we got her, right?
Fail forwards.
Fight them here or fight them in there?
Well, exactly. I'm going to try and, just try and Batman one of them. Batman one of them,
yeah, okay. And what form does this Batmaning take?
I think sort of just try and drag someone into a dark alley and choke him out.
Okay, presumably you're going for the one at the back?
The one, yes. Oh, very clever. Yes, the one at the back.
Come
That's
on!
better than my plan.
Ooh, just before we roll on the action, everyone mark your load and tell me what it is. Because I've forgotten to do that on literally every single score we've done so far, I think. Dictates how many items you'll be able to draw on.
Could go heavy.
I mean, the penalty is for, like, social stealth, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, it's to do with how identifiable as someone who is up to no good you are.
I mean, I feel like it's very clear we're up to no good regardless of how much we're carrying. Although I only get one more thing for heavy load.
Up from normal. Okay, so you get 6 points to spend on items. Randall going light?
No. Heavy.
Oh,
Yeah. Because there's no social stealth here. It's,
Yeah, if anything, you want to be intimidating.
this guy's got loads of stuff on him. He's prepared.
His coat is bulging.
You can have anything in those pockets.
Yeah, I think as opposed to being a negative, it's an advantage this time.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the Batmaning.
Yeah. So we're calling this hunt?
Yeah.
It might quickly turn into a skirmish, depending on how well it goes.
Yeah. Oh dear. Let's see. That's a 1 and a 6. That's a 6.
It succeeds. The 3 thugs are walking down the alleyway, and then in a flash of darkness, 2 thugs are walking down the alleyway.
Perfect.
And you have, under your boot, you have a female half-orc. Your hand is over her mouth and she's struggling, but you have the upper hand in this situation currently.
I mean, just for the just in case we've got sort of luck of the draw here, she didn't happen to be the biggest, meanest looking one of the 3, did she?
Did we say? Oh yeah, that was the entire point, right? That was who you were going.
That was the aim, but then there were 3 of them.
It depends if they walk at the back. Is that a roll? Just a luck roll to see? I think.
No, like that you set out. That was your objective. You rolled a 6.
That was the objective, but then there were 3 of them, and then the objective changed to whichever one was at the back.
Well, it was risky, so you would have been punished for rolling lower than a 6. So yeah, you've got the biggest one. Cool. Her muscles bulge as she tries to pull your paw off of her mouth.
Yeah, I mean, just gonna try like a choke out.
Choke her out. Yep. Okay. Yeah, she goes down. That was.
And then
roll into the roll.
The rest of them, and
you're on a roll.
Okay,
well,
so
the thing about taking out the person at the back is that just means there's someone else at the back.
Yeah, I think as Kuuza approaches the second, Randall steps out from an alleyway in front of them before they get to the wine bar. To shock.
Kuuza sheepishly goes back into the alley.
No. This is the whole point. So it's like that now they're not hearing or focusing on Kuuza sort of coming up behind them, and uses trance powder on the front one, and says, "Don't you think it's time that you went home?"
You are commanding this beefy human man who is carrying a cudgel at his hip, and he's not as big as that orcish lady you just took out, but he's pretty hench. But yep, with this powder in his face, which tell me what trance powder does again?
It's a Jedi mind trick, isn't it? I just realised maybe I'm massively overestimating how powerful it is. I was just hoping you wouldn't ask.
If you click the little triangle on the right, it
does give you a little explanation, does it? Description.
It gives me an empty box.
Yes. All of my grey stuff, which is the important stuff, has a little empty box, whereas things like a blade or 2...
So it
has a nice description.
Induces a pleasant hypnotic trance. The victim of this powder is not fully unconscious, but rather retreats into a calm, suggestible mental state similar to hypnotism. The powder can be thrown by throwing a handful or a vial. The quality level is tier -1. The description of trance powder in the slide section only describes what it does, no drawbacks. So they become into a hypnotic state. No mention of how long. I just want them to basically not come onto this shift. That's the plan, for them to just be removed entirely from the engagement.
Okay,
using a command.
Yeah, so with the use of the item, that's going to increase. So when you use an item, the correct way of doing it is that it either reduces your position, making it less risky if something goes wrong, or it increases the effect. So if this was risky standard, the trance powder would either make it controlled or would increase the effect to great. Do you have any preference between those two?
It feels like your intent there is that it increases the effect, right? Because you want it to be, you give a command, they just go, oh, yeah, okay, fair enough, I'm going home, rather than it's still risky because
he'll punch you.
It's either the powder takes effect or the powder does not take effect.
Mm.
And if it doesn't take effect, you've just stood out in the middle of an alleyway and gone at some frightening men.
Yeah, I mean...
Okay, we'll go risky great in that case.
Yeah, I think just go for it. Just want them to go home, want them to be removed, don't want to have to fight them. And if I have to, then that'll come next. Okay, so just wondering if it's worth pushing for 2 stress. Nah.
How bad is it going to be?
This is well under control. This is all part of the plan. Kuuza coming up to take out the second one. Randall in front of the first one. 3 dice, right? Or is it 2 dice and then it has an increased effect? Sorry.
2 dice with an increased effect, yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, that's a 4.
4, so mixed. The human takes the powder in the face, sort of staggers back with their eyes swimming, and he sort of staggers back into the orc gent behind him, who pushes him to the side and is on you immediately. And you recognise him through scars, through bandages. It's Porky.
Yay, Porky!
Porky? And as he growls at you, cudgel in hand, you realise the bandages around his throat must have hurt his vocal cords somehow. Like he's fought some kind of bladed mechanical monstrosity very recently. You from the coffee shop.
Quite right you are.
And he brings his knee up into your gut with a sickening crack.
Oof.
Inflicting level 1 harm. Battered.
Ooh. Level 1 harm. Cracked gut.
I guess it wouldn't crack, it would be like you'd just hear the air escaping your lungs.
Yeah, you have to go quite a long way through the gut to get to something that cracks. That's a really bad knee.
All that glass you've been eating, Randall.
Okay. So the one that I tranced is going, right?
He's, staggering away.
Okay. Kuuza.
I think Kuuza has probably sort of gently enjoyed that. We'll move in to...
And you're watching as Porky throttles the life out of Randall, being like, yeah, I'll step in a minute.
Hold on, let's see how this plays out. I'll clock him in the back of the head. I think I'll tick off a box of load for a cudgel or a kosh or something like that.
Okay.
Or I could just if the guy's walking past me in a trance, I could nick his.
Yeah, fuck it, do that.
Just pick his up and then clock Porky over the back of the head with it.
With the objective to knock him out, knock him down?
Knock him out would be ideal, but at least, stop him killing Randall.
Okay, I think this is controlled from your point of view because you're not the target of his ire currently. with standard effect.
Skirmish, feels like.
Up to you.
Feels like a skirmish.
Unless you're trying to, wreck his skull, but...
Certainly not. No points in wreck.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm trying to hunt for a weak point at the base of his skull.
You're trying to finesse him onto the ground.
That's a 5.
Oh, it's a 5. That's mixed.
I knock him out, but he kills Randall.
He does go down. He goes down like a sack of very heavy meat. And you realise you...
Knocked out Randall.
No, I think you are now in a quiet alleyway with the door to the back rooms of the Amber Dream in front of you. And the small consequence, because you're not punished too hard from a controlled position, is you're not sure if there was a password that they were going to use to get in.
Okie doke. They wear tracksuits, right? That's sort of their gang uniform.
Yep, fantasy tracksuits, big gold chains, Adidas trainers.
I mean...
If Adidas would like to sponsor the podcast. If not, then Nike.
Other illegal activity sportswear brands are available.
Exactly.
I mean, what's the plan now? A bit of dress up? Rhino, do you take the small one? I'll take the big gal in the alley. I reckon they'll fit.
Well, if the idea is for us to be against them and to raise, tempers, to throw them out, then we can't really be dressed like them, can we?
No, it's very true. Unless, like Odysseus returning home, we cast off our raiment at a dramatic point in the future.
It's not really the show of strength we were banking on.
No, that is true. It's actually the exact opposite of our plan. That's a very good point.
Randall would know there was a password to get in, right? He's been in there before.
Yeah, I suppose you would actually, wouldn't you?
That's one of the, Randall knowing how to get in is kind of
really the whole point, right? Yeah, okay, I reckon maybe it's not such a insurmountable obstacle to get yourself inside, but you are quite heavily laden with weaponry and scoundrelly items.
Yeah, we'll take out the front door. Okay, I feel like the downside of making noise in the front door doesn't have the effect that we want, and gives us a chance to raise the an alarm if we don't get a perfect roll. So,
yeah, well, I think the consequence would be you'd need the password if you wanted to get in with full load, maybe.
Okay, and it is a thug who mans the door, obviously, or guards the front door. So,
but presumably everyone who's in there is waiting to be relieved. So these are all thugs at the end of their shift who are expecting to be going home anytime soon.
And they've been around psychoactive substances for 12 hours.
Gamble. Just walk in.
When in
Randall will just give the password he gave last time.
It also adds to our show of strength if we just are in there. We don't have to force our way in. We're just in there, and then we're a problem for them because they haven't got the strength to guard their own doorstep, right?
Yes, I like it. So go knock out the front thug. Just a series of knocking people out. That's
You need them all alive to tell the story.
Just looking at anything else that might be useful in the list of potential items. Armor, that could have been handy. Oh, I really wish I'd put this armor on before being need. I didn't think it would go so badly so quickly.
Yeah, crunch that.
Okay, through the front door, see what happens. Try and give the old password, see if it works.
So you knock on the door. The little slat at eye level opens. An orcish pair of eyes look out at you, looks you up and down, and asks for the password.
Bash.
You know the rules. No weapons. Dump your stuff, then you can come in.
Okay. Goes down to light load.
Okay.
Is that how that works? Is that the...
I think that'll be the... if we want to use the addict password to get in, then yeah.
Okay, so goes down to light load.
Yeah, you just chuck your stuff at the foot of the little step up into the door. The door opens, and you see this thug in his full uniform looking at you. But the door's open. You can see into the room. The usual suspects that you would see in an opium den that Randall is incredibly familiar with. It's the odd sparse bit of furniture, and another thug is at the back of the room that you can see.
Is this the only way in?
There is another door through to the legitimate half of the business.
Okay.
But you can see that is bolted from this side. That's on the far side of the room.
Just wondering if we could chuck this guy out and lock him out.
Without noticing.
Without the other guy noticing.
Okay, so Randall will very boldly walk past that guy, having managed
You're
to
allowed
get past
in.
him.
Yeah.
Is allowed in. Goes up to... Not up to, but like is in the area of the other guy. The other guard, I should say. Mm-hmm. And is just waiting to see what Kuuza does.
The door is closing.
To what end? Does this help us?
We're taking control of the drug den so we can sell the drugs. So we can make money and become famous.
I'm going to try and chuck him out the door and then lock it.
You get a fantastic bit here where you get to like kick the door so it flies back and hits him in the face as he's trying to close it. And
oh, that's very good. Yes.
Strive forwards for the cool moments. Claim your rights as a scoundrel.
So Randall saunters in. Kuuza, kick the door into the face of the thug and try and sling him out and then lock the door.
Okay. And what are you doing to do this?
Again, very difficult to justify this as anything other than skirmish, which I think is my best bet at it. I might push myself because I feel like this is a rough one to get wrong.
You are realistically, you've got him by surprise. So it's not going to be like desperate or anything like that. I think it's. Mm-hmm. I think we're saying it's going to be risky, and with the element of surprise, we'll move that up to great effect.
Okay. I am going to push myself because who is Kuuza if he doesn't have at least 2 stress? Gang, that's a 1 and a 2.
1 and a 2. So the door flies back and I want to say it like bounces off his head and bounces back and hits you. So the consequence here is going to be that do I want to lock you out or do I want him to beat you up? I wonder which we should go for.
Oh, I feel like lockout is probably more complex in the short term, isn't it?
I feel like thugs are more likely to fight than just say, oh no, I'm going to secure the premises from the big evil bugbear.
But then equally, what would they do if like an addict tried to force their way in? Would they lock him out? Or actually, no, they probably would just go out and beat him up, wouldn't they?
I think what happens is the door hits him but doesn't really do any damage. He yanks the door back out of its way and you're close enough for him to grab Kuuza and drag Kuuza inside and barrel him onto the floor and then kneel on his back with like a bar across the back of his neck. So you're not harmed, but you're in a bad position for whatever you do next.
Cool. I just need my fix, man. I just need it.
He pulls out the crossbow you've got slung on your back, drops it next to you. He pulls out a bag of like whatever your other equipment is, drops it next to you.
He pulls out my hunting dog, which I think is one of my trained hunting pets.
This is just absolutely falling apart because it's just. I thought if Randall jumps on the table and tries to get them to like rise up and see them out, no one's going to want to because the muscle is just so weak.
I've a little bit fucked us.
I mean, you could try and get out from under him just straight. It'll be desperate, but there's a chance.
Hey, desperate gives me experience. And I can always push myself.
What if Kuuza if he's not overflowing with stress?
Or perhaps you could give me a devil's bargain.
Ooh. Is that the route we're going?
I mean, if you've got an idea for one, I'll take it. But if not, I'll push myself.
So the devil's bargain could be that if you manage to throw him off, he is in an excellent position to get the alarm into his hand, which will start the clock of when the reinforcements will arrive, if you haven't secured the sink by then.
Oh no, but we're specifically trying to disable that. Okay.
While that goes on, can I just try and help somehow and assist with the distraction method I might have thought of?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can take a help action of some kind, I think.
Okay, so Randall pulls out of his cloak pocket a stick of explosives.
Yep.
Now, nobody move, or I'll blow this place to kingdom come.
And Kuuza, you feel this guy's grip on you loosen slightly.
Right. Well, in that case, I do not accept your bargain, devil. I will take my 2 dice from my good friend Randall. And I can't see any of my things I'm clicking, so I'm just going to quickly reload that page, see if I can see the buttons. But I rolled a 6. That's the big news.
Oh,
that's the headline.
Tell me how you get this guy off you.
So
we should have clarified before whether you were trying to knock him out or just get him off you, I think, but it's up to you now. That ship sailed.
That ship sailed, so it's going to be a knockout.
Of course.
So I feel the sort of the grip loosen a little bit, and I think it's sort of grab head behind me, slam it into the floor next to me, and then probably some kind of cool throw, possibly into the middle of the room so that everyone can see the unconscious body.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you hear you do hear a crack when when his face connects with the floor, and then you hear a second cacophonous crack as he goes through the table in the middle of the room. And you are now left with only one thug and a room full of frightened Stardust heads.
Anyone else want some?
The thug behind Randall certainly does, as he dives to take Randall out at the legs. And we see time slow down. What does Randall do?
Lights the explosives.
Fuck! Clock.
No. Okay, it's like, can you just pull explosives out and not use them? It's like, then you get a reputation for
Chekhov's
being like
gun.
a bluffer.
It's Chekhov's demolition tools, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think Randall will try and finesse.
Uh-huh.
That's like
Go
a
on.
jump to another table.
Yeah.
And then just shout, "You want me to use it?" Taking like a magical fantasy match and holding it close to the. So that's the obviously that only happens if he finesses his way out. So okay, that's 2 dice, but take the lowest.
Because you have no points in finesse. Okay.
I think Devil's Bargain would be really great. And I think that the Devil's Bargain should be that he accidentally lights it.
That's absolutely.
So Devil's Bargains happen regardless of your roll. So
yeah.
Okay. So we've got a 4 o'clock. Lit dynamite.
How long is this fuse, do we reckon?
4.
3. Oh, God.
Ah!
Okay, 1 dice. I'm just rolling so few. 2.
The lit dynamite clock gains 2 ticks.
Yeah, he doesn't actually light it like at the end because he's been bowled over, right?
Yeah. And Randall is bowled to the floor underneath a hunk of an orc. This one's got a broken tusk. The crowd of addicts in the room leap to their feet and start crushing for the exit. So Kuuza, you have about 5 bedraggled humans, elves, a halfling, all rushing to get through you to get to the exit now.
Well, here we are. Do I see the call for help device?
Do you, I wonder? I think it's obvious where it is. To your trained eye, you would see the only drawer which isn't smashed in the room, and it's in an easy-to-access place. It's plainly obvious that it's in the dresser, which is about halfway across the room against the wall that you're closest to.
Okay, so remaining Fug has as much of a chance of getting to it as I do, and therefore it's still a danger to us, although the explosives are also very much a danger to us.
Yes. My threat assessment of the situation is that the dynamite will kill you before the reinforcements do.
Yeah. Theoretically, Randall has a handle on the dynamite because he's holding the dynamite.
Yeah. So it's like
I think he kept hold of it as he went down.
Yeah. Maybe not. It doesn't matter. It can't have gone that far. And it'd be easy to find.
I think the orc is trying to wrestle it from you
at
this point.
Distracted. Perfect.
Got him just where we want him.
Scrabbling with one of us for a lit stick of dynamite. Masterful gambit, sir.
I mean, I'm gonna grab the device before we handle any of our other many problems.
Okay.
Use it as a weapon.
And use it as a weapon to clock said Fug.
Okay, yep. You get the drawer open and it's right there. Big handle on sort of a block of wood with runes carved into it. You're careful not to twist the handle.
Yes, that'd be bad.
And are you desperate to use it as a weapon? Like you have weapons.
I do, but I've not ticked off any load yet. I've just I've nicked stuff and hit people with it.
Cool. So
What I don't want to do is roll a 1 and end up calling the Fugs by hitting someone in the head.
I don't think you can accidentally trigger this device. I think you have to put effort into twisting it. I think, yeah, you not succeeding at things will cause the dynamite clock to advance. That's what you need to worry about.
Yes, the dynamite clock. How could that have happened?
We're all looking for the guy who did this.
Either we get the drug den or no one does.
And also we die. Look,
It would be quite fun if the next episode was just Kay and Gecko just hanging out, waiting for Kuuza and Randall to come back, and they just don't.
I mean, we've not had the Tay Gecko episode yet, have we?
No, last time they hung out together, they killed a woman.
Very true.
Yeah, we shouldn't hang out. Gal pals, no.
Yeah, I mean, if we get rid of this fug, then that's one less thing that we need to deal with.
Okay.
I'm gonna clock this fug.
Okay, this is going to be controlled again because he's distracted with the stick of dynamite. But I feel like the risk of the dynamite going off really pushes that back up to risky at least.
Everything from this moment on is risky.
Because of the dynamite.
The only choice that isn't risky is leaving.
But standard in that, I think you've got a good enough angle here. Like, yeah, you've knocked people out within the last minute, so let's do that again.
Hang on. I've just had a little thought. The information we got from the Blue Cloak, do we know where the thugs would be coming from?
Just down the street. You may have seen the relief crew leaving it.
I'd like to grab the dynamite, please.
So you're leaving Randall and the thug wrestling, grabbing the dynamite.
Randall can take him.
And running.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd like to hunt for the the hideout.
Okay. So you know that there's 4 points on this dynamite clock, and Randall filled up 2 of them with a 1 earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. I think with the reduced fuse, this is going to be desperate.
More than fair.
But sure, standard. Yeah, you can probably get that into the letterbox of this hideout.
And then make it clear.
Ooh, well, let's not think that far ahead just yet.
And then jump.
Another 1 and a 6.
Oh! Talk me through this.
I think, yeah. Grab the dynamite. Get out the door.
What does Randall think of this?
My leverage!
I've got a plan, don't worry about it. Hoof it to the hideout. Just sort of gently trying to stop the fuse going. And then, I mean, is it bang on the door, wait for the slot to open, lob it in?
Yes. It's a big, thick wooden door with iron bars.
Are we looking for
it.
rep on this one? Is that what we're...
I'm thinking about how many people you're going to kill and how many ghosts are going to be following you, to be honest.
Oh, fuck.
I'm just really excited for that.
I'd forgotten about the death thing. Well, it's far too late now. It's gone through the slot.
We may as well get rep.
Compliments of the uptime, gang.
The fucking what the fuck is... And the door is blown off the hinges and hits the other side of the
alleyway.
alleyway.
And I surf it down the street.
And you retreat from the now burning ruins of what was a stronghold of the thugs.
Anyone else hear a lot of bells?
There is a distant, far-off ringing of a bell.
Ding ding. Ding ding. Ding ding. Ding ding. When does it stop? The Uptime gang is now engaging in terrorism.
This is the sort of gang war that the Undercity is used to seeing.
Excellent.
So Randall, you are getting punched in the face by this other thug. What are you up to?
He's been on the end of, I think, many beatings, right? So this isn't like the first time that he's been... Sometimes his weaseling doesn't doesn't quite land the way.
I mean, you've
like
met him. We've all met him.
Yeah. This isn't the first time, and I think that I like this idea that he carries a concealed dagger.
Mm-hmm.
So it's his cane sword, and I've got one last item slot. So
you don't actually.
I thought 2, 3 trance powder doesn't count for load because it's attacks.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, you are completely correct. You do have one last.
Yes. And I really, really need it. So, I think that what he'll do is he'll just try and, because it's small, try and just take it out and how in how much danger does he feel? Is this he's gonna die kind of beating?
It is an orc wailing on you with his fists.
Right,
I think you might not die. He's probably not trying to actively kill you, but it's not a pleasant experience to be in.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a danger, obviously, any time you use a sort of a dagger of sorts. So
yeah,
I think he's going to try and stab. I can't show you in the shoulder. I think that would be quite painful. So trying to maybe remove the use of one of the arms of the orc, and maybe that pain would give Randall time to sort of scramble free.
Yeah, okay. We'll say it's risky, standard, in order to use a dagger to inflict enough pain to get him off you, basically.
Yes. Yeah. So that would be skirmish. So Randall will push himself. 2 stress, which makes 1 dice, and then the effect. So the choice is either increase the effect on a success or reduce the risk.
Yes.
I think using a knife is really going to increase the risk, regardless of what happens. I don't see how Randall pulling a knife is going to in any way mitigate a risk. It
might reduce the risk to you in that you're gaining an upper hand during this skirmish.
Which is kind of the point, right? So it doesn't need to be like a one and done. It's just about surviving long enough for Kuuza to get back and help. So yes, we'll reduce the risk to try and
Okay, yeah.
At least elongate the fight, because if it's a 1 without it, it would just be Randall's just dead. So it's 1 dice.
Yep.
Whilst getting wailed on. 4.
Okay, I reckon he gets another hit in, and you get battered a second time. So you should actually be taking less effect because of your earlier battering.
Yeah.
So you haven't got him off you, but you are elongating the fight in that he's now sort of weakly throttling you as he tries to get the dagger away from his vital organs. So I think you do take another level 1 harm. So now you've got 2 things in level 1 harm. You can't take level 1 harm anymore. It'll go up to level 2.
Yep, okay. That makes sense. First time I've taken harm.
So, Kuuza, you arrive back on the scene. There is a gaggle of the customers are now sort of around the door watching this fight. One is brave enough to have gone back in to try and scoop up what's left of the product in that room now. But past the customers, you can see a bloody pair of humanoids wrestling on the ground.
Cool, so I'm going to try and heave the orc off the top of Randall.
Yep. He's wounded, so I think this is... it'll be controlled because he's completely unaware of you because he's actively being stabbed. And the wound brings it up to great effect. So I think you could easily end this fight now.
Cool.
Unless something goes badly wrong and this orc turns into some kind of superhero.
6 for skirmish.
Tell me what happens.
So what I want to do here is pull him up by the shoulders.
Yep.
And then slam him against the wall.
I'm with you.
And I want to say, right, now you run along and you tell your friends that this operation ain't theirs anymore. This operation is the Uptime Gang's. And if you've got any doubts in your mind about whether that's the case or not, why don't you go and see your hideout next door and see what that looks like at the moment? And you stay off our turf, all right? Run along.
He grits his teeth, but nods reluctantly, spits blood at your feet, and picks up his friend, drags him outside. Sees that he has quite a lot of other friends that he needs to drag, and you don't see him again.
The vital thing that we all need to remember is that Porky was not in that building.
No, he was unconscious, face down in the alleyway at the time.
Porky is safe.
And now the Uptime Gang has a
Drug
den! Yay!
I think it's fitting that Randall paid quite a heavy price.
Thanks for listening to Of Dice and Them. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a review on your favourite podcasting platform and subscribe to be notified as soon as new episodes drop. In the meantime, give us a follow at Of Dice and Them on social media, where you can also find out how to follow our cast. And we'll see you next time.
I will stand in the doorway and kind of just go, "Hey, Bethan,
Oh, yeah.
there's something
Hi.
you should take a look at."
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just point at the fog that's outside the window and just say the storm has gone silent.
Oh, I can go and pop my head out.
Are you sure that's wise, considering we don't know what this is? It feels not exactly natural.
Right. Okay. I mean, it's odd to have had a sudden shift. I suppose all we can do right now is batten down the hatches, so to speak.
I suppose. I don't even remember when the noise from the storm stopped.
As Bethan is specifically concentrating on her ward and trying to ascertain what might be going on, she gets a sensation like pins and needles in her arms, a kind of hot itch across her shoulders and down her back. Nothing has triggered her ward because it's been disarmed. After the dramatic conclusion to Season 1 of Black Teeth,
Did you miss me, sweetheart?
the Transmissions are happy to announce that the wait is over. Search for The Transmissions Black Teeth on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you go to our Linktree /The Transmissions RPG, you can find all you need to know. So sit back and join us for Chapter 1 of Black Teeth, Snow Song.
Two heat, say if we're saying it's contained. Oh, it could be 6 if we're saying it was wild and devastating exposure. You did blow up a building.
Is it possible we've overplayed our hand?